We're very privileged today to be having this tour here in this historic building where Formula 1 cars, 500s, Formula 2s, all sorts of race cars were built, from MGs to Jaguar Coopers. So we're very privileged. And we also want to thank Charles Ivy, which we've got a guest today here, which we're very fortunate. Alvaro Grigo and his son Daniel. And we'd also like to thank all the staff of Charles Ivy for this fantastic opportunity today. I'd also like to thank the opportunity you're giving me to take this tour, which I'm very privileged for. We was going to originally start on the front, but there's obviously too many of us to do that. So we'll start the tour in here. So some bits you might have to see with the photographs that we're going to show. We were going to start outside where the blue plaque is. Now, in 1933, Charles Cooper moved into 243 flat in Yule Road, which is literally just here on the corner. And this was just a building plot, and he decided to buy this piece of land and build a small garage, which I call a tin pot garage because it was made of corrugated tin. Now in 1933 he built that garage, which is a Vauxhall dealer. He then decided he was into racing, always long before that, and he decided in 1945 to build a little Cooper 500. We hopefully should have the gentleman that was involved with that 1945 car here today. He has popped in this morning and he said he was coming back, so hopefully Fred Griffiths will be back with us at some time today. Now, the 1945, this picture here was where the garage was, and we've probably seen on YouTube and internet of John Cooper actually travelling down from here in a Cooper 500 down the Yule Road, down to the Kingston bypass and back up again, and overtaking a bus in one of his little race cars. Now, in this picture here, Kevin would point out, but in the centre of the picture, it's a little bit hard to see, but was the air gauge that they used to pump tyres and things up from the garage. Now the original pump or gauge, Kevin will actually show you. I've managed to purchase that a few years back, and the actual original gauge still exists from the actual garage from 1933.
Look at that. Some of that. It's as old as you.
So as I say, we were going to start outside, so in the corner is where the blue plaque is. I expect you've all seen the blue plaque. Now the blue plaque was put up by English Heritage in 2018, and it was a very, very brilliant day with many ex-staff came in and bought some of the cars, and Michael Cooper and Sally Cooper both were there to unveil the blue plaque. We had Charles Ivy and Alvaro there supporting us again, which was a fantastic day. Now, as I say, what we were going to do was start on the front, which we haven't. So just imagine you all drifting in through the front door of the workshop where we came in to start with. Photographs on the left-hand side were donated by Michael Cooper to Charles and Alvaro on the wall here, and some fantastic photos, and Alvaro's also added some extra of the 1933 inside that part of the workshop. Also, just beyond Kevin here, was Steve McQueen. He came to the garage and bought a Formula 2 car. On that photograph on the wall there is Steve McQueen picking the car up with his Land Rover. Was it Discovery? Defender.
Well, probably Series 1.
Series 1. And he went on to do the film Bullet when he was over here. He also stayed in John Cooper's house, which then John Cooper bought a house just across the road in Kingsdown Road. Unfortunately, it's not there anymore. And Michael Cooper was turfed out of his bedroom for Steve McQueen to stay in. So there's been a lot of famous people walk through these doors here. And then we come to this part of the workshop, which the employees, obviously, in those days couldn't have motor cars, so they used to park all their cycles all the way along this road, this piece of wall here, back in the sort of 40s, 50s. So we come back to this room here, and since I last come up in October, I was going to tell you about the mezzanine floor, which is above here. But obviously I don't have to tell you because it's now come back. It wasn't there in October. Have you got the picture there?
Which one do you want?
Before that, little one.
Little one?
At the back it might be.
Oh, there he is. Stuck.
No, is that not?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, so this one here is obviously with all the cars being built within this part of the workshop. In this part of the workshop, we have the mezzanine floor, and the guys in the workshop used to get very, very cold during the winter. Now, they weren't very happy, and so they said to Charles Cooper. Charles Cooper was a very mean man, very mean. He didn't want to spend any money at all, and they said, Charles, we are so cold in this workshop. Please, can you put some heating? And he picked up a paraffin heater and he stuck it right there, bang in the middle where you guys are standing there now. And he said, if you want central heating, you've got it, and then walked off. A little bit later, obviously, he did put a central heating pipe up through the top here, but he didn't really like doing that. So, a little while afterwards, we had Sir Jack Brabham. He started Cooper's, and he came and he was involved with the rear engine vehicle. Now this was changing Formula 1 completely. Didn't start winning straight away, but obviously went on to win. But when Sir Jack came over from Australia, he had nowhere to live. Now, because he didn't have anywhere to live, he decided in the car park of the pub just along the road here, where Coopers used to keep all their transporters as well, trailers, he would put his caravan there. So he didn't have very far to come, because if you look at the back of the workshop, he used to come in through the back and across the bridge and into the workshop. So that was his way in to work. And on that bridge there's a little stream, and Charles Cooper used to go out and feed the ducks. But it must have been on mouldy bread, because he wouldn't have paid for new bread. So, not that long afterwards, we had another special guy that joined the Cooper Car Company. His name was Bruce McLaren. Now, when he came to Cooper's, he walked into this workshop here, and he said, where's my car then? And Charles and John said, well, your car's over there. But he said, what do you mean? He said, well, if you want to race for us, you build your own car. There's the chassis, there's the engine, there's the gearbox, and that's the body. So you put it together, and that's how Bruce started in this workshop and obviously he was a great engineer as well. So, no, that's the other, sorry.
Can't keep
You,
up.
you can't keep up with me, sorry.
Which one are you? What number are you on?
Right, so this sort of completes this part of the tour, but as we look at the back of the car, the workshop here, we have also Charles Ivy, Elvro and Daniel, they race still in the Porsche Club, and so a lot of racing still goes on within this premises. These cars are built, how often? You're doing it all the time, aren't you? So we still have race cars being built on these premises. And Daniel's doing quite well. This is Elvro's son. Right, so we'll do the next part of the tour.